Greetings, everybody. Nina here from Beyond Truth, and welcome to another Sunday show. Tonight, we have a very special show. We're going to be talking about all the missing scientists that have been either missing or killed in the last few years here. So, but before we do, Robert, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. I haven't gone missing yet, so that's a plus. I haven't, ended up in the underground, a few 6 foot. So, things are really looking up.
That's good. Well, it's a good thing you're not a scientist, I guess, or working for NASA or any of those kind of things, because it seems to be targeted around those kind of people, the people who have information that, I don't know, the conspiracy is just going wild, and I have a bunch of theories myself, but we'll get more into that maybe at the end of the show. Maybe first we should probably go over what's going on and who's missing and all that kind of stuff. So we might as well just dive right in, guys. But before we do, make sure you smash that like button, share it out to a couple places, okay? And check out the links down in the description. We got a brand new X account and a brand new Facebook page, okay, for Beyond Truth, which is for both of us. And so make sure you go and follow us there, okay, and check out all the links down below for places where you can find us. We're pretty much on every social platform there is out there right now. So go and do that while we're getting ready here. So tonight, we are separating documented fact from public speculation. We have to put this in there as a sort of a disclaimer a little bit because of the YouTube, and you guys get it, right? So the cases are real, the disappearances are real, some of the deaths are real homicides, okay? But a single unified conspiracy has not been publicly proven. The House Oversight Committee has formally asked DOE, DOD, FBI, and NASA for information about these cases, describing them as recent public reports involving people connected with sensitive U.S. scientific information. And this is why this is so intriguing. It's like, these are all the people with all the knowledge, and they're going missing or finding dead. So, all right. So tonight on Beyond Truth, we're stepping into one of the most disturbing stories. Let me just get into here because it sounds like there he is. Did you leave us or something, or what happened there?
No, I'm right here. I just
okay. I just heard something.
Whenever you feel like putting that up, these are the scientists
okay, maybe I should do that right now, so that you have something to do.
Read about them.
There. Now, so Robert is in charge of the visuals here, and I'm going to do all the talking, so just bear with us here, guys. We're just a two-person team here, so, there could be some snafus, but here we go. All right. Yes, this is one of the most disturbing stories that are moved from the internet rumor into official scrutiny. I believe even the president is looking into this now. That's how big it's gotten. So there you go. Now, scientists, researchers, cleared personnel, people tied to the nuclear programs, aerospace, fusion, and advanced research. Okay, some are dead, some are missing. Some cases are violent, some are simply unresolved. And now this story has grown seriously enough that the House Oversight Committee is officially demanding information from federal agencies about the disappearance and or deaths. So tonight, we asked the question nobody seems to be able to answer clearly. Are these isolated tragedies, or are we looking at a pattern? These are the questions that we're looking at here now. So let's start with the case that pushed the whole narrative into overdrive. Retired Air Force Major General William Neil is it Caslin or Caslin?
McCaslin.
McCaslin.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. See, some of these words I don't know which one, because you'd be potato or potato, you know what I mean? But Caslin, all right, disappeared in Albuquerque on February 27, 2026. So that was fairly recent. So this is one of the recent ones. Bernalillo County says the investigation remains active. The profile release says his phone, glasses, and wearable were left behind, while hiking boots and a wallet and a .38 revolver were missing. So I guess that's quite normal for Americans to just, grab your boots, your wallet, and your revolver, I guess, and head out to the whatever. I don't know.
Yep.
That's quite common over there, I guess. We were talking about this before the show. Here in
It
Canada,
sure
that
is.
would look that real weird. You got a what? Revolver? What? You know what I mean? We don't have that here. But I guess in America, that's a normal thing to just grab that, and then he went missing. So this is a kind of case people do not just shrug off. A man with high-level defense research background vanishes, and suddenly people start asking whether his past mattered more than public is being told. That's the thing. What was going on there, before this? So,
Did you know?
uh-huh.
I looked into this guy just a little bit, and like the week before he went missing,
Mm.
he went on a 60-mile bike ride.
Mm.
60 miles. So this guy was definitely in shape. He was fairly well to do. Him and his wife had several houses. They also, he was a really smart man. I listened to the police reporting about it, giving the hoedown on it. And the guy said if he was here, they said he may have a little bit of mind fog. That's how they described it. He was starting to get mind fog. But if he was in the room with all of us, he said, he would still be the smartest man in the room.
Right. So that shows you how smart he was, right? So
Yeah.
So which is why it makes it so weird, right? It just doesn't make sense, and this is why we're talking about it. It just doesn't make sense. So but we're going to move on because he's not the only one, obviously. And we actually, just yesterday, as I was doing research for this, there's a few more people. So there's more than just the 11. And we're going to get to that at the end. So I'm going to go through all the 11 first now. We'll take a little break, and then we're going to go into the latest, because there's some that just happened like a day or two ago. So just hang in with us there, people, okay? Because we do have some new stuff to bring to the table. Even if you've seen other shows about this, you know what I mean? Just stay tuned, because we got more. So, and once people look at the case, they started noticing something else. He wasn't the only one. That's right. Now we're going to go into the New Mexico nuclear cluster, because they seem to be in clusters into different areas. And so this is the New Mexico nuclear cluster. Okay. Stephen Garcia has been described in recent reporting as a government contractor with high-level clearance at the Kansas City National Security Campus, part of the U.S. nuclear weapons enterprise. He reportedly disappeared from Albuquerque in August 2025 after leaving home on foot. And then we got Melissa Casillas. I'm not sure how potato, how you say these words, the last names, but tied to the Los Alamos National Laboratory support work, disappeared in June 2025. Reporting says her family believed the disappearance was not voluntary, and public discussion around the case intensifies because her phone was reportedly factory reset. Reset all of a sudden. So that is weird, right? That's just not normal. Yeah. Then we have Anthony Tony Chavez, a retired Los Alamos employee, also vanished in 25 and is now grouped into the same wider cluster because of the Los Alamos connection and the lack of clear public explanation. This is where the story starts to grip people. One case might be tragic. 2 or 3 in the same orbit starts to feel a little like a corridor, a secrecy corridor. When Los Alamos nuclear infrastructure and missing people all start showing up in the same sentence, people don't think coincidence first. They think containment. Then we go into segment 3, which is the California NASA JPL cluster. So Monica Jacinto Riza, disappeared in June 25. So a lot of these are in 25. It was just last year. While hiking on foot in the Angels National Forest. Fox LA reports that has been described as an aerospace engineer linked to NASA, JPL, and Aerojet Rocketdyne work. And despite search efforts, no trace of her has been found.
Yeah. That I heard about her story too, and she was literally hiking with somebody, got about 30, 40 feet away, and they turned around and she was gone. Just like that. They were out on the trail hiking. Her friend yells to her, "Hey, there's a turn coming up. There's a turn over here." And she, they went around a brush or something. There was a cliff or something. Well, she never made it to the turn. And he looked back and she's gone. Just like that. And he walked down the trail. People were walking up the trail. She's not in between. Where'd she go?
Yeah, that is even weirder than if she was with a group of people and just disappeared sort of in front of them. That's even weirder.
Just when they got out of sight, just out of sight.
Weird.
Few minutes, in between, seeing the person and not seeing the person, and then all of a sudden, well, where did you go? If you're on the trail, most people just don't walk off the trail and down the ravine and in the middle of nowhere, especially if you're hiking with somebody.
Well, yeah, it's one thing if you're all by yourself hiking, nobody knows where you went or whatever. That's one thing, right? Disappear. People do that all the time, actually. They go for hikes and you never see them again. But when you're with a group of people and you were just right there, and all of a sudden, boom, you're gone. Like that to me seems a little bit even weirder than just somebody going on a hike. You know what I mean? So yeah, really weird. But then we move on. We got Michael David Hicks, died on July 30th, 2023. His obituary and memorial notice confirmed he worked at JPL from 1998 to 2022. So that's a long span of time that he was JPL. What exactly is that?
I don't know. Jet Propulsion Laboratory? Jet Propulsion Laboratory.
It could be. That could be. So if you guys know, put it in the comments, because I don't know all these technical things. I'm no scientist, as you all know. But he was there for a long time, from 98 to 22. That's a long time. And specialized in asteroid and comets. See, now we're starting to get into, all this kind of stuff. And we all are expecting disclosure. So isn't it kind of weird that all these sort of scientists are all of a sudden disappearing and dying off? You know what I mean? Who would have answers to whatever narrative is coming with the disclosure? But anyways, we'll get into that later. We also got Frank Maywald, another longtime JPL researcher, died in Los Angeles on July 4th, 2024. At age of 61, public obituary coverage confirms the death, but sparse public detail around the circumstances help few speculations online. Yeah, I guess so. Why aren't they telling us exactly what happened to him? There's another one of those, in the same asteroid and comet research. So these are the people with all the knowledge, guys, that are going missing here. And this is why it's so bizarre and why we're talking about it. So here's why the public looks into this cluster. JPL, asteroid work, rocket science, NASA-linked research, and then missing or dead personnel. That combination alone creates suspicion even before anyone proves a connection. I mean, yeah. The moment you hear NASA, JPL, classified technology, and vanished scientists in the same conversation, the story starts writing itself, doesn't it? Yes.
Yeah.
Then we're going to go into segment 4, which is the violent deaths, which is never good, but it does make for entertainment, doesn't it, sometimes? But and then we got the cases nobody can dismiss as vague in internet mythology. We just can't, dismiss this one. So Nuno Loriano, I don't know how to say it, Loureiro.
I think that's Loreno. Yeah, that's about it.
Lauriero or something like that. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your names, guys. But you can look that up for yourself. I don't know how to pronounce it. MIT professor and director of the Plasma Science and Fusion Center died on December 16th, 2025 from a gunshot wound, according to MIT. MIT later said authorities identified the same man as responsible for Lauriero's murder at the Brown University shooting. It's the same man? Also, he was killed by a gun. Same guy that shot the Brown University shooting, which I haven't really heard about, but must be more of a smaller segment there. Same man.
So the guy that's doing the shooting
Yeah.
shoots this guy, goes to the Brown University shooting, and then kills himself. And then there's no questions to ask.
This sounds like MK Ultra, like with all of these high profile shootings that have been going on. It sounds like the same sort of scenario. They're sleeper cells, is what they are.
Yeah.
You know, no right.
Okay, so the Brown University shooting was what happened on December 13th, 2025. So it was just a few days before. The gunman opened fire at the Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island, inside the Barris and Holly Engineering building, killing 2 students and wounding 9 others. The authorities later identified the suspect as Claudio Manuel Neves Valentin, a 48-year-old Portuguese national. Rhode Island officials said that was responsible for the murders of the 2 Brown students. He was later found dead. So
on December 13th, he goes and does the university shootings, and then 3 days later is when he goes and shoots this guy.
Yeah, apparently.
So why was he still out? Why wasn't he in jail at that time?
Yeah.
That seems a little weird. It's almost like they let him go so he can continue on. I don't know. These are all just my speculations. But okay, so let's just move on for time's sake here. But yeah, that's very, very strange.
Just reading what they got, and I'm like, trying to make sense of it. People were doing this on the fly here, and it is what it is.
How do you get rid of the freaking?
It's good to know I'm not the only one.
I can't turn off the phone. Oh man. Why is it turned off? I gotta go in here.
I don't know. I have that problem sometimes too. The thing is with these things is you gotta wonder, was he supposed as Nina, here's the question to you, just off the cuff question. Because he was an MIT scientist guy with nuclear fusion energy and stuff. And this guy went to the university. Was my question? I'm wondering if this guy wasn't working at the university, because a lot of these scientists work with universities to study stuff. Was he working there? And the guy went there and was programmed to do this and probably knock him off. And then he wasn't there, so they kind of he kept going.
He had to come back and finish the job. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying is, our Patsy or our programmed robot guy, didn't do it. So let's him go until he finds the right, guy. And then now that everybody's going to look at this guy as doing the Brown University shooting, they won't think about the Nuno guy at all. This guy will go under the radar.
So those are connections that you guys can do your own research on to find out more about the Brown University shooting, exactly what happened there. We don't have time for all that here, but check out to see if, that could have happened. You know what I mean? Because that seems really weird that within 3 days he'd done 2 of them. I'm surprised that he got away with the university thing. They usually end up either arrested or killed. I mean, they don't just take off so that you can go and do it 3 days later. I mean, that doesn't usually happen. So that seems really weird, but I'll let you guys, research that for yourself and comment down below if you have, or if you got some articles, give us some links and stuff like that, to get more information on that. But we're going to leave that there for now because we just got too many names to go through here, guys. Okay.
Conspiracy scientists for nothing, right?
Yeah. So the next guy is Carl Grillmeyer, an astronomer at Caltech's IPAC Center, died on February 16, 26, so that was not long ago. Caltech publicly confirmed his death and reporting tied to the fatal shooting in California. So it's another shooting, unfortunately. It's too easy to do that down in America, everybody's running around with guns, anyways. There are, sorry?
I says, that's what we do. We run around.
Yeah, well, that's going to change. That's the thing. All of these things are just leading up to changes in that department. But anyways, that's not what this show is about. These are not just mysterious deaths with thin paperwork. These are violent deaths of major scientists. The fact alone is enough to keep this entire story alive. Fusion, astrophysics, top-tier scientists, gunshot deaths. At minimum, that is alarming. At maximum, people see a warning. Most definitely. Now, segment 5 is the wild card cases. Then there are other names that blur the line between tragedy, mythology, and suspicion. Jason Thomas, a scientist and pharma executive in Massachusetts, was reporting missing in December 25. In March 26, authorities said a body recovered from Lake, and I don't know how to say this, it's Quannapowitt, Quinnapowitt. Okay?
It's an Indian name.
It is, and I don't know how to say it properly, and I'm sorry if you get offended, but, I just can't roll my tongue around that. So, was preliminary identified as Thomas. Early official statements said investigators had not found evidence of foul play. All right. But suspicious nonetheless. Amy Eskridge became one of the most emotional charged names in the broader online narrative because of her anti-gravity and exotic tech associations. Recent reporting include her in the same cluster, but the public evidence still does not prove she was killed because of secret research. Now, there's no evidence, but it seems to be a little sus, at best. These are the cases where people's instincts, emotions, and existing beliefs can overpower the facts. The truth does not help when every mystery becomes the same mystery. Something to be said for that, I guess. All right, so in segment 6 here, all 11 names. So again, there is more after I've gone through all these 11 names, okay? We are going to be talking about the 2 recent ones that aren't even in this list yet. Like ChatGPT can't even keep up with this story. Mm-hmm. It's just happening. It's happening in real time. So let's say them clearly. And also there's 2 candles going on, behind me here, and they're burning here for all these people. And so as I'm saying the names, I just want you to take a moment and think about them, send out some positive vibes, prayers, whatever, to them and their loved ones. And lest we not forget, you know what I'm saying? Even though the government's probably trying to make us forget, but we got here William Neil McCaslin is missing. Monica Jacinta Riza is missing. Stephen Garcia is missing. Melissa Casias is missing. Anthony Chavez is missing. Michael David Hicks is dead. Frank Mywald is dead. Nuno Lorero was murdered. Jason Thomas, dead after a missing person case. Carl Grillmeyer was killed. Amy Eskridge, dead and still heavily mythologized online. And I think that's that lady that had the burn things on her hands, like she was being targeted by something in her house. Like, there's a lot of weird stuff going on. I think it's Amy. that I saw
Yeah.
was that. So she's clear. You can see her hands are all burnt. I mean, something was coming through the window. So these people are definitely target, and they finally got her, I guess, with a gun, of course. That's what they do down there. But yeah, this is why people are paying attention. Not because of one case is strange, because the list now exists at all. Now, the big questions. So what are people really asking? They're asking whether this is coincidence. They're asking whether this is social media stitching unrelated cases together. They're asking whether tragedy inside highly classified world naturally looks connected because the system itself is so opaque. And then they ask the biggest question of all: is disclosure pressure rising? Is something sensitive getting too close to daylight? And are loose ends being removed before the public sees the full picture? And to me, mic drop. I'm going to repeat that line again because this is what I think is going on. Loose ends being removed before the public sees the full picture. Are you guys getting the picture? That's what I think is going on, but let's keep on here. Now, let's be clear. The last theory is not publicly proven for liability reasons. The oversight letter itself describes the underlying public reporting as unconfirmed, even while demanding answers from agencies. All right, segment 8. What could the cover-up actually look like? And here are some uncomfortable possibilities. A cover-up does not always look like one clean operation. Sometimes a cover-up is a fragmentation, compartmentalization. That's a big one. Silence, sparse reporting, delayed answers, and just enough chaos that nobody can tell where tragedy ends and suppression begins. That may be the real story here. Not that every one of these 11 people were part of one identical operation, although I think we can, when they're all working sort of the same field, you kind of have to think they're part of something, you know what I mean? But, as far as this whole thing goes, we have to say it like that because for liability reasons, allegedly. Yeah. Allegedly, everything is allegedly. That's right. But that we are looking into national security ecosystems so secret that when people disappear or die, the public can no longer trust that they're even seeing the full picture. And that's the problem. So where does that leave us tonight? The disappearances are real. The deaths are real. The violent cases are real. Federal attention is real. And the public still does not have satisfying answers. Maybe this is a coincidence. Maybe it's a pattern created by life inside classified systems. Or maybe we are watching the edge of something much larger, where the people closest to dangerous knowledge become the hardest people to explain when they disappear. Whether the truth is, or one thing is certain, until the public gets real transparency, the suspicion will only grow. That's right. And so I think this is why the president is now finally going to do something about it. Mind you, knowing him, we won't get the full story anyways, right? He'll say he's going to give it to you, and then he'll take it away later. All right. I think that's all I have here for this here. So I see you got the whole map here. They're all spread out all over America.
Well, so if you really look at this map, it kind of spread out all over America. And if you really think about it, if somebody goes missing or dies, it's usually handled at a state. Now it's me going. A state level, right? It's handled in your local area. Like say it happens in California. Well, that's a big state. I'm sure there's a lot of people that go missing or die every single day, and that one person is, just another notch on the belt somewhere, another statistic. The guy went out hiking. Well, he drowned. Something. And then several years later, you're not going to say, oh, well, another person. People forget. They don't care, and then they forget. Oh, so they don't link anything together. But now, since they're all happening, if you look at the dates, they're all within a four-year period. Now people are starting to put it together and go, oh my gosh. And
Well,
one other thing, I get, this is one question I want to ask you, is
Okay.
they were talking about people, we said that one guy that got murdered, and there were several of them that got murdered. And how many people do you know that actually that have gotten murdered? And more or less a smart individual who's got college education. I mean, I could see if it was like you live in Chicago and you're a druggie and you got murdered by somebody drive-by shooting, but to be a highfalutin scientist and get murdered, how many people get murdered?
Well, unfortunately, I do know some, but and I think we all do. Murders are just ramping up. But no, I get what you're saying. The difference here with all of this is, I mean, we every day somebody's getting, especially in the States. I mean, constantly. How hundreds of people get murdered all the time. The difference is their connection is in the tech industry. That's the connection here. This is why it's so weird. We don't look at all the other ones, but it's starting, and we're not done yet. And another thing too. So if you were, let's say we're going to go with the conspiracy here, you can't be offing them all at once, because that will look way too suspicious. So they started this, I would say, I think 22 is it when we start looking at the dates here. I think 22 is the earliest. June 11, 22 with the Amy there. So starting 22, which wasn't that long ago, right? They're all just boom, 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 boom. And we're not done yet. We've got two more that we're going to go into here that I just found out about last night. Okay. So we might as well go in there, but let's take a quick break before we get into the last two. Okay. And we're going to talk some more about this. So we'll be right back after the short message. All right, so let's see here. Let's take that one down, and we're gonna show a different one here. So I just found out last night, and unfortunately, two of the people who are in this family are aerospace defense engineers. Unfortunately, his whole family perished because this was a plane crash. That's another easy way to take people out. It's easy to compromise an airplane, and especially if you want multiple people on board. That's happened many times in the past. And so it just happened a couple of days ago. This was published on the 21st, which was on Monday. Now, do we want to play this little video here?
We started, I guess. That wouldn't hurt.
Let's see here.
As we comment on it.
Site chair James Comer is worried something shady is happening. Listen.
It does appear that there's a high possibility that something sinister is taking place here. We've asked all those agencies, the Department of Energy, NASA, the Department of War, to all share information with us so that we can see if we can put it together and find any missing links to try to solve what's going on here, because it's very unlikely that this is a coincidence.
Wow.
Yeah, you should stop it there. Stop it there for a second. See, now that's the thing. Even he's saying, well, it happens, but this isn't just a coincidence that, we're starting to put the pieces together. You can start to see the writing on the wall, like, hey, one dead scientist, one goes missing, a general goes missing. You kind of, okay, well, it could happen. Maybe there was something wrong with him. Some lady says, oh, I'm going to, there was a murder somewhere, blah, blah, blah. But then you start adding them all up, and nothing happens that random just by chance, right?
That's the thing. So this is another decorated veteran pilot, aerospace engineer, and defense researcher was killed in a plane crash in South Carolina last week, raising questions about whether the incident is related to the deaths and disappearances of the 11 scientists. And if that's the case, it's now 13 then. Confirmed, because it was the guy and his son. They were both high up there. So James Tony Moffat, 60, was flying with his wife and sons, Andrew and William. I believe it was Andrew. That was the other guy that was also in there. When the plane crashed in a wooded area near the runway of Union County Airport in South Carolina on Friday, the Union County Coroner's Office said. The family from Huntsville, Alabama, was traveling from Raleigh-Durham area of North Carolina to Huntsville. Okay, let's see. Did it talk about any more about who they are? Authorities have not yet released the cause of death. Well, I mean, they were on a plane crash, but yeah. Moffat is the latest scientist who tied to aerospace research and NASA to make headlines, with the death and disappearance of 11 individuals with similar backgrounds raising concerns. His son, Andrew Moffat, was also an up-and-coming researcher at the time of his death. The 30-year-old was a research engineer and scientist at the University of Alabama in Huntsville Research and Engineering Support Center. So the elder Moffat earned a master's degree in aerospace engineering from Georgia Tech in '88 and previously studied an experimental test pilot in the U.S. Naval Test Pilot School. Yeah, just, you know. So there's more than 11. So that brings it up to 13 now then, so far. Now, by the time this episode airs, there might be more, unfortunately. So if I was you, if you are a scientist of some sort and you have all this information that could potentially whatever, I would stay low if I was you. I would, you know what I mean? Like I would be getting a little bit scared. Now I know some people have made the connection with David Wilcock. I do not believe that he's part of this. Okay, I do believe that David Wilcock's death was a suicide. And if you want to know more about how I feel about David and what went on there, we'll check out the episode we did last week where we did a memorial for David. Okay, and we talked all about David in that video. But however, I do not believe him or his autobiography guy that also died 2 days prior, which is another quinky-dink that's kind of weird, but I don't think it has a connection with this. So we're going to drop that from this episode. So 13 so far, I would say. And unfortunately, there's probably more coming. And so my, take on this is that they're taking them out before the huge disclosure. Why? I don't know. I guess we won't really know until the disclosure or whatever it is that they're going to come out with comes out to see. Because these people obviously knew something that they don't want them talking about after that happens. Which kind of tells me that, they're going to be spinning some sort of narrative that doesn't go with reality. They're going to try to spin something. I don't know. What do you think, Robert?
Can I chime in on this part too? We talk about the world, the apocalypse of the world ending kind of thing, and how they got these bunkers. In the news, it's been, the war, all these bad things could happen. 90% of the people could die off. Are these people that are the ones that went missing? If you exclude all the ones that died, and then keep all the ones that went missing, are they taking them to them underground bunkers?
Well, we could go wild with, theories of what's going on. Yeah, that's quite possible a theory that they're taking them to go underground, because a lot of people are moving underground already. Because
think of it this way, the ones that got murdered, because murder is so common, that happened, especially aerospace scientists just happen to walk in front of bullets all the time, or stuff like that. You'd think they'd have science on that thing, and the bullets moving. Anyway, the point is maybe they were offered, said, hey, we want you, and they said no. Now they're afraid they might tell somebody, and then their life is extinguished. Yeah, I mean, I'm just shooting. This is my opinion. What do you think?
Going back to maybe the first guy we talked about who left his wallet, his glasses. We both wear glasses. To me, that's weird. Why would I leave my glasses? But then you said, well, I sometimes do that because I don't need them for everything. So who knows about this guy? How much he needs the glasses? Is it just reading glasses, or does he? You know what I mean? So there's that. But leaving your wallet, your glasses. I don't know what else. There was a few things that he left. The only thing he took was his gun. Now, when I first read that, I'm thinking right away that he was planning on taking himself out, and that he went up to some cliff, did it there, and he fell into some ravine where we'll never find him. That was sort of my initial. But like you said, I mean, who's to say? But then, so let's say they were recruited and they were going to go, is that how you would do it, though? Would you just leave your glasses in your wallet and then just take off with the gun and then go to that doesn't make sense. You would think there would be a sort of different scenario on a disappearance. Like if you knew you were going to disappear and never see your loved ones again, when you take your wallet, when you take it.
And again, are these, when you disappear like that, for instance, if I was I'm just putting myself there. I always do this. If I was the government, would I tell you when I'm going to pick you up? Would I tell you the day that you're going to make preparations? It might be any time, any place. He might have left all that stuff on the counter of or just left it, walked out and said, I'm just going to walk down to the mailbox down the street and get my mail. And they pull up and said, it's time. And whatever he got on, he's got his flip-flops on and his whatever, and he's got his revolver that he carries with him all the time. And then he gets in the car and they leave, and his wallet's sitting at home because he went to get the mail for 5 minutes.
Well, this guy, I think he was on a hike, or something. He was.
Well, that's what they said. He might have went for a hike, but he didn't take his hiking boots.
No, he didn't. That's the only thing he took. He put on his hiking boots, and
He left behind his phone and his glasses. He takes his boots, his wallet, and his revolver. Okay, so he took his boots, his wallet, his revolver. He's going for a little hike. He goes down the road. They pick him up. His wife, I guess, was went for a doctor's visit at that time. So she didn't know where he went. And obviously, this was a common thing for him. Like I said before, he had went on a 60-mile bike ride the week before. 60 miles. Hey,
so
who can ride a bike 60 miles in the audience here?
No, I know.
No? Nobody? Oh, not me.
So obviously he was in good shape. Now, to me, as a Canadian and a European, taking your gun when you go, that just seems weird to me. But you, as an American, you guys see it differently. I guess you bring your gun everywhere. I don't know, but so to me that's a little weird, but maybe not. It all depends on the culture, isn't it? So who knows? He could have been picked up, but let's hope that that's what happened. They're bringing, because they are going to need scientists. They are going to need doctors and people with knowledge down in the bunkers. So I would assume a lot of people have gone missing that are down in the bunkers for sure.
Well, because to this day, there's no digital trail. The FBI was, checking them out. They're searching. The cops are searching. They had tons of searchers out there looking for him for days. And how far could this guy go? I mean, he's not stupid, so he's not going to and he's not poor. It's not like, oh, my life is in shambles, I owe everybody money. No, he's rich. He's got a good life. He's got a really great job working for an aerospace company. What more do you want? He ain't like that old. It ain't like he's 90 and he's senile. He's 60 something. This is good years of his life.
Yeah, I know. This is why we're talking about it, because it doesn't make sense, and it does seem a little sus. So yeah, I mean, I would love to hear though what you guys think. Put it in the comment section. What do you think happened to that particular guy or any of these guys? Do you think it's a connection, or is it just conspiracy nonsense? You know what I mean? But I will be curious to see what Trump comes out with this. I'm sure he's just going to blow it off, and I guess, well, you know what? This is how we're going to, if he does blow it off or some cockamania something, then there's something to it. But if he actually does an actual investigation and he actually seems genuinely concerned and actually want to help, then I'm like, okay, all right. I'll give him some credit there. You know what I mean? But if he just does this usual Trump nonsense, then okay, or he says he's going to do it and then he doesn't. Kind of like with the Epstein files. 1 minute you're going to get the Epstein file, next minute it's just a hoax and nothing to see here, folks. You know what I mean? So,
he's done that. He did that with the JFK files. We're going to release everything.
We're going to release all that, and then all of a sudden, oh no, that's gone. Yeah, no.
We're going to do that with the UFO files too. We're going to release all the UFO files.
And this is where my suspicion gears up, because we are waiting for him to release those UFO files. We are expecting full disclosure is literally what the movie is called. That's coming out in June. Okay. And I've heard rumors that he's going to be coming out with it in July. So this is going to be the summer of disclosure. It's going to be the summer of aliens. Okay. It's all going to be about aliens come the summer. And so this is why it looks like they're kind of offing all the people that could maybe discredit the things that they're coming out with. I could maybe say, well, actually, it's like this. It's not like that. You know what I mean? Like, so you get rid of all those people.
The thing is I don't think I think you got it backwards. I don't think it's to discredit anything. I think if they're offing these people or they're making them disappear, I think, like that one gal that disappeared, she was the gal that found the molecular. She was a metallurgist, put it that way. I'll just sum it up for you people, because none of you are scientists and neither am I. So basically, after I listened to all the mumbo jumbo crap of molecular this and that and atoms and what I got out of it, basically she discovered a new type. She was a metallurgist. She discovered a new type of metal that wouldn't crack or break under high heat and stuff like that for the space missions that they were doing, so they could build better space engines, because apparently our space engines that we were getting from Russia we're not getting anymore. And now she was the one that came up with this new metal. So she was highly intelligent, and she happened to be working at the same aerospace place and with that general guy. Now, if they knew each other or not, I mean, like I said, all these lines kind of crisscross. They may have passed each other in the hallway or whatever, but he was involved in a lot of this stuff too. Maybe they were taken for their knowledge.
So either that's one possibility, that they were taken to further their studies without being in the public. Or the other scenario there could be that she's already able now to discredit both moon missions, because anybody in the right mind, you don't have to be a scientist to look at those tin cans that they were parading around in, that could go through the space. It wouldn't be able to get through the firmament. And when that thing landed, you never saw a little fizz. Like, you know how hot that thing would be coming through the atmosphere and then going into that ice cold water? There would be all kinds of, all that. There was none of that. None of that. That thing didn't look like it was warm at all. So she's one of those people that can say, well, that's impossible because this is how it's done. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. So everything they've done up to now, these people if we actually sat down and have a conversation with them, they could probably tell me in their scientific words why this is not just me. I can see it, but I can't explain it because I don't have that kind of mind. But they could finish my sentence with, say, yeah, you're right, Nina, because this doesn't add up. See, and that's the kind of people that are missing right now. And this is why I'm feeling that, yeah, they're getting rid of them, because they can come out and prove to you that, yeah, no, that what they said there, that's just no way. And who knows what the narrative is that's coming, you see. That I can't wait to see exactly what cockamamie story is coming, you see. And yeah, so I don't know. Again, you guys leave us your comments down below here, what you think. Yeah, or any interesting links to go with it. Yeah,
you're right. There's a lot. There could be discrediting, but you got to think too. There's this lady or this guy. They're not the only one on the team. Because there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of scientists, and a lot of them, believe it or not, they're all compartmentalized, or a lot of them are, because you can't share secrets with this one or that one, and and it's
yes.
And they all then sign these NDAs that they can't talk. And look at this. Let's just look at the astronauts that went to the moon, and then they really didn't ever want to talk about it. And then when some do talk about it, they're like, "Oh boy, why is that guy? What's that old guy that always is punching the reporters in the nose or something?"
Was that Buzz Aldrin that did that or no?
What?
Was that Buzz Aldrin that did that?
Yes, Buzz Aldrin. And then he comes out and he says really weird things like, "Well, we went, but we didn't go. We didn't go, but we went."
He's telling you, he can't lie. See, that's the thing. When all those guys came back from their moon mission the first time, right, when they said they went to the moon, they came back, they did a press conference almost right away, and they all look like they just found out that Santa wasn't real, right? They all look kind of somber and all that, whatever. Go back and look, guys. It does not look like a team that just done something like that. You would be so pumped. I mean, you would be like, yeah, I couldn't wait to tell you all about it. No, they look like, they did not look happy at all. And then over the years, we've seen numerous footage now of Buzz Aldrin. He just can't keep his mouth shut. He doesn't want to go to his deathbed with that lie. He wants, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be, he's probably one they're going to take out too, because, he's already sort of said it. Well, we didn't really go there. He sort of underneath his breath a little bit and whatever, but he's basically come out and said that they didn't go there. Okay. And they've also come out and said that, and they actually had a movie there, 2 years ago, about the moon landing, and about basically telling you in that movie that, we may have done some whatever, but the actual filming of it was done in the studio. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, what happened to that guy that was filming it leaving the moon? Did you guys just leave that guy there filming the guy? You know what I mean? Like,
if you just go back to shows like that were poking fun of it when it actually happened almost. There was that James Bond movie. Remember the James Bond movie where he's chasing the bad guy and they run onto the moon set, and they're chasing him through the moon set, and he's driving the electric car. What are you guys doing here?
Cut scene. I mean, no. I mean, and the guy that filmed it also admitted to it on his deathbed that he filmed that whole thing. And so they have to kind of come out with something. So they came out with that movie there, 2 years ago, whatever it was, basically saying that, we filmed it in there. So that kind of explains it, saying that they went, but it was filmed there because they had to. I mean, there's just too much evidence,
And then the thing is they come up with lies for the lies, because then I remember the one guy saying, we filmed it, but it was, we had to fill in the bits and pieces that they weren't filming up there. And in a case the mission went badly and stuff, we had to have a film to show, because we wanted to be ahead of the Russians. And we wanted to show them we could go to the moon first. And that's why we had to film the moon in case there was an accident. We could still show the footage.
Could lie and say it went well.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, exactly.
so
What else? I mean,
they,
they've
we
got
didn't
the
have that
basis
lie
covered.
part in there, but you got to read between the lines, people.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's they're more or less come out and said that. So and it's all about being first. Oh, we better rush this so that we'll be before the Russians or the Chinese or whatever. And whatever. So yeah. Anyways. Yeah, I think that's all we have for this show here. It's just been just about an hour now, and unless you have something else you want to add that goes with
Yeah.
the whole listing thing here, because that's kind of
Well,
what we're
that's the thing. Tons of people go missing every year.
yes.
A lot of people, I remember they were saying it's 60, 70, 100,000. I don't know. It's a crazy number of people. Now, this is just from numbers wise. These are facts.
Mm,
Lots of people get reported missing. Lots of people that were reported missing are found, but they're never taken off that list. That's why the list seems so big.
Oh,
Individuals that do go missing.
That's not a
What?
very good practice. To not
No,
take
it's not. People will call up
that's
and say,
that's
yeah, my child is missing and blah, blah, blah. And 2 weeks later, they find them, because they were missing at that time.
right,
This kid
and they
ran
don't take
away.
them off the list. That's just
Yeah,
ignorant.
the list, they just count it. Maybe they take it off the list, but the thing is it's counted as a person gone missing.
Oh, I see.
They don't have the numbers for the people that were found from the
Right.
missing. They just look at that big number. So if
Right,
you
they
went
just want to
missing,
give you that big number without backing it up with, well, actually, we found
that-
half of them. Right? That doesn't sound
that's
semantic,
right.
does it? No, okay.
That's right.
I
So
gotcha.
that is one point that you have to consider with the missing people. The second part of the missing people, I want to touch back base. And if you remember this from the NASA thing, and I seen a thing on that reminded me the other day remember when the space shuttle blew up a number of years back? Remember that?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
shortly after that, and to this day, they found these people
I
that
know. See?
that were
Yeah,
that
they're
went
still alive
missing.
somewhere.
They were
Yes.
alive, and they
Yes.
interviewed some of them, and they were like, I just happen to have that name. I worked here, and I'm a professor of Harvard.
No,
or
that's my
something."
twin brother or something. I know. It's
Yeah, they all had twins.
yeah,
Was it-
so this is why they're fudging all these stories. I don't know why. I don't know why, but I think we're going to find the why coming up with the whole disclosure. I think, for those of us who have eyes to see and ears to hear is what it is, you know what I mean? And pay attention to what they're saying coming up this year. Because I think we're going to find out why they've been doing this. Like, why lie to us so much? Like, why all this stuff? Like, so.
Well, I'll tell you one last one about the UFO disclosure. When Trump comes out with the UFO disclosure, and they just say, yeah, off the coast of California, we seen another Tic Tac, and we got video footage of it. There's your disclosure. People will really be depressed because they're looking for more than that. Because that's what the last disclosure was. Look, off the ship of Nimitz, we seen this Tic Tac, and it was followed by an airplane. We don't know what it was. That's pretty much all they got. They got the Elizondo guy, who is just another guy who's propaganda. He's on all those alien shows, on all those radio shows, podcasts, everything from Joe Rogan to Timbuktu Land. He's on all the TV, movie, documentaries, everything. Elizondo, this, that, and everything. Is he that credible? Really? Is he?
Yeah, these are all questions that we have tonight. Hopefully we'll get answers, come in the future here as to, hopefully they'll find these people. In the meantime, I just want to, reach out to the family and say, best of luck to you guys. Send them some good vibes and keep them in your prayers, you know what I mean? And hopefully nobody else will go missing. Hopefully with us talking about this, that they're cluing in that, hey, the people are starting to notice. Maybe we should stop doing that. You know what I mean? Hopefully that's what's coming out of this. But yeah, anyways, if you guys have any, questions, you have anything to add, maybe some cool links that will go with what we talked about here tonight, put them in the comment section. I would love to see some follow-up. Who knows? We might do a follow-up show on this later on. We'll see how this progresses. But yeah, anyways, thank you all so much for watching. Make sure you hit that thumbs up before you leave, share this out, and go into the description, check out all the other platforms that we're on. We just got a brand new X and a brand new Facebook page. Okay, and you'll get daily content in there, all kinds of professional shorts and stuff every day. And so make sure you follow us on all of them, and stay tuned for next week. We'll have another great show for you then. So with that, I'll say goodnight. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.